Hello everyone, it's Shel from Paper Rock TO Studio. And guess what? It's day 1 of November, and that is when there's always, for the last several years, a daily art journal page challenge. And Peg Robinson and I, we like to make up our own prompt list. This prompt list is from Art Joy of Sharing Facebook page, which is our Facebook group. Yeah, that's what I said. The prompt list is up there at the top if you want to print it off and join us. That would be really great if you would play along. Day one's prompt was bird, and you know what? These are random. They're just brainstorming. We just sit there and we brainstorm and we just write down words. So bird, love birds, love birds and love birds. I wanted to do a bird, so I'm not sure who picked the prompts, but anyway. The first thing I did, I've adjusted a few of these pages in advance. This is my junk journal that I made on Art Joy of Sharing live stream channel a while back, and I'll try to remember to put the link in the description box below or in the iCard so that if you want to see how I made this journal with stab binding and just a bunch of junk mail that comes in the mail every day, you can go and watch that. And then I did gesso a few of the pages. The first thing I did here was to take some acrylic paints, a light teal, titanium white, and one of the blues, and I'll have a materials list in the description box below. And I just use my fingers to smear it around after I put on some gloves in a bottle, which is a lotion that protects your skin. I'm really having some trouble with my skin peeling, so yeah. Then while the acrylic paint that I just randomly smeared on there was wet, I took a skewer, but you could also use the backside end of a paintbrush, and I scratched into the paint, making kind of a branch and some leaf shapes to just scratch through the paint. It adds texture and interest. Then I took some stencils. The first one was Harlequin stencil, which is one of my favorites, and some copper paint, another one of my favorites. That's a PBO iridescent copper, and used a cosmetic sponge to add just some randomness to the background, just for fun. And then I also used that dot one. I'm not sure what it's called, but I'll make sure that I put it in the description box. And then also a one that I think is from Folk Art that has some branches on it, and I added that to add a few little branches and leaves, repeating the same colors that I used in the background. I didn't add any new colors. I used that light teal color that I used, not trying to bring in more colors, just adding pattern. Then I took the transparent brown golden fluid acrylic. It has a little nozzle on the end, and I dripped it holding the page the direction that I wanted it to drip down and run down, and adding a little bit of spray bottle water to make it drip. And that just added some of that brown color, kind of coordinates with the copper, not as, shiny and iridescent and shimmery or whatever. And then it kind of adds in the idea of a branch being filled in there for my bird to sit on. The prompt is bird, so obviously there's going to be a bird. My next step was to take a piece of deli paper that I had on the desk and lay it over the top of the page and draw a bird using my mechanical pencil. And then I'm darkening the lines as well so that I can see them from the other side. What I'm going to be doing is paper painting. And I could have drawn the bird directly onto the page and then paper painted it. That would have been fine. I just, the page is bumpy and, just hard to draw on. So it's easier to take a piece of paper and draw over the top of it than it is to do it right directly to the page. But either way is perfectly fine. Then I'm taking some different scraps of paper. These are mostly jelly prints on deli paper. picking out some colors. I have these plastic boxes full of scraps. I keep all my scraps of paper, all kinds of them. And I sort them in by color, which some of them are really getting pretty ratty now, and I need to go through all of it and sort. But it's not going to be this month because I'm going to be making an art journal page and a video every single day. So stay tuned to my channel if you want to watch daily videos, because yeah, that's the push. I actually started my channel, almost the very beginning thing of my channel. Maybe not the very first videos. There might have been a couple of those before, but I started with what is called Nano Jaumo, which is a big challenge that a lot of people do. That's for art journaling every day. And I made a video every day, and I used a art journal that I had made that was completely made out of gel prints on cardstock. And I'd sewn my own, journal. And that was the launch of my channel a few years ago. And then I can't remember if I used prompts or not. I think I did, actually. That's when Peg, Lizzie, Sherry, and I decided to make up our own prompts. And we were all challenging each other to art journal every day, which I think most of us did. I know that I did a page and a video every single day, but I'm not sure if they all did. But anyway, that was, I think, 2 years ago. And then last year, again, we made up our own prompts. I don't know if that original time might have been just me doing the prompts from Nano Jaumo, maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, you would think with only 2 years I could remember, but last November, I did this challenge, and I know the prompts were ones that we made up for ourselves, and we did it every single day again. And then this is the 3rd year of it, and it's pretty crazy. But we hope you join us. If you haven't joined the Facebook group Art Joy of Sharing, come over and do that. And then you can post your pictures in there if you don't make videos or anything like that. You post them on Facebook. Oh, and of course, I forgot to mention the hashtag. This year our hashtag is #ArtJournalHabit2017. So if you do a page, even if you don't do one every day, but you do a page using one of our prompts, use that hashtag and then we'll be able to find it. Because that's how you can label something when you put it out there on the internet for other people to be able to find it. And of course, you can search that hashtag and find art that other people did using our prompts. So all this time that I've been talking, I've been paper painting. I've been using different colors of little pieces of paper torn into mostly feather shapes, kind of long, thin shapes. It's interesting about paper. Some of it does not want to tear in an even line, and it's, paper generally has one direction it will tear straight and the other direction it will not. And of course, these being scraps, who even knows which direction is which at this point? But I'm doing my best to tear them into shapes and to put the colors in the area that I want them. I'm not sure what kind of bird this is. It's just a bird, and it has a white tummy or an off-white tummy. It's got some blue and brown feathers, so maybe it's a bluebird, but no guarantee that it's accurate as to what any type of bird out there might look like. I'm going to say it's not. It's a made-up bird. So then once I was done applying all my bits and bobs of paper, and by the way, I'm using Liquitex Matte Gel Medium to do this. That's my favorite choice for, doing this type of work. Then I gave it a good dry and I cut it out from the back using sharp scissors. Small sharp scissors make a difference in this case. Wow, I didn't realize how much off the camera I was when I was doing that. Sorry about that. But you will know that I did it anyway. So there's the bird. Bringing back the art journal page. Now it's really good and dry. And so that, it's been sitting up to the side. Then I'm adding a couple extra little pieces of paper here and there to the background I painted the background, but I still want a little bit of collage on there just to give you the idea that it is a collage, it is a paper painting. It doesn't have to be completely covered, but it's nice to have a few extra pieces of texture paper there. Using a very dark brown. I think that paper is gel printed with coffee bean, which is a really nice dilutions color. I recommend it. I like it. Pretty sure that's what that color is, and it's nice and dark, and so I can add a few little pieces here and there to my branch, so that the bird has a place to perch. And then I also add just a couple little pieces of torn green paper here and there, kind of imitating the idea of leaves, because the bird's in a leafy tree on a branch. I've already got leaf shapes in the background between the scratching through the acrylic paint and the stenciling using that teal colored paint with the stencil, but just adding a few more using different colors, an olive color, a teal color, dark green. And then I give that a really good dry, because my next step is going to be, well, my next step is going to be to add more paint. So my bird was blending in too much to the background. The background was too dark, the bird was too dark. So I'm just kind of adding some really watery titanium white acrylic paint with a brush. It's watery so that it doesn't just make this huge white halo. You know, titanium white paint is generally very opaque. So I didn't want like this white opaque halo around the bird, but I did want to lighten up the background where the bird is sitting just a little bit. So it's very watered down, applying it with the brush, blending it with my finger a little bit in some cases. Also kind of bringing out some of those scratched shapes, filling them in a little bit in places just to make them stand out a little bit better. And that helps to lighten up the background, helps the bird to stand out more, you know, so that you can really see what it is. And then once that is really dry, I go in, of course, with my Stabilo All pencil. Now you could do this with markers if you don't have a Stabilo All pencil, or you could do it with diluted paint. This pencil just happens to be really handy for this type of work. It's extremely water reactive, like even more so than a regular watercolor pencil is. You could also use chalk, like a charcoal for this, or a pastel pencil for this. Anything that you can blend. Even a China marker is a good choice, as long as you can blend out the edges. This really works great because it's water soluble, and I can blend it with the water on the brush again. And I'm going around the bird on the edges and blending out those shadows, and then also adding some of it into the areas where there might be a shadow under the feather. Just to add a little bit of definition, nothing crazy. I'm not tracing everything around like an illustration, which you know I'm likely to do because I really think I'm more of an illustrator than a painter. But I'm not doing that, but I am adding some shadows. And then of course I can't really get away doing anything without a white Posca pen and adding a little bit of highlight. If you're going to add shadows, you should add highlight, in my opinion. So I'm doing that with a white Posca pen and kind of blending it with my finger a little bit. Not too much, just a tiny bit. Then I went to my computer and I printed out some quotes, and these aren't all quotes for one page. I looked at the prompts and I've tried to find a few quotes for upcoming pages, because I don't want to waste the paper. If I'm going to print a piece of paper, I should print it up pretty, you know, a lot of it. So I found this, it's kind of like a little encouraging poem that I really can't give you the source. I Googled and I don't know who wrote this. I ended up altering it anyway because I decided that I had too many lines and it was taking up too much of the page, and I didn't really like the center section of it anyway. It was about life being a play and playing your part with passion, and that this almost seems like it would be something that you'd maybe write in a graduation or a promotion type card maybe. it was just something that I saw on the internet. So I ended up slightly changing it and leaving out part of it, but it still is cohesive. It's just basically encouraging words about, um, you know, using your wings to fly and to soar, and uh, if you get lost, to look to the stars and follow your dreams. Positivity, just some positivity. That's what I like. So I cut it apart, and I did seal that whole page with some white gesso, Liquitex white gesso. That seals in the ink. My printer is an inkjet printer, and so good possibility that if I put that on there with a wet medium and go over the top of it like I am, it's going to smear the ink. So I just decided to seal the whole page before I cut it up and used it. Then I'm going around the edges with a black ink pad. This is a permanent ink pad by Memento. And I think my final thing is to just add some shadows under the words, the little word blocks. And that was it for me. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and share if you want to. And be sure to watch this month's challenge, which is #ArtJournalHabit2017. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.